Oh, all right. I don't know if you can hear me. When I think you can hear me. Anyways, greetings, welcome back. Right when I faded out the music, my browser mic connection went down. So, anyways, some people are here. Hello, how y'all doing? I know I changed the time up, so I know that it's a bit of a. And people are used to me showing up at a particular time of day. And sorry I had to change the time today. I will be back tomorrow at the regular time of noon. Just had something going on today. So we're here. And how are you? Good to see you. I just have stories and stories and stories and stories backed up, or items that I would talk about that are backed up. Anyways, hello everyone. Hello Andre. Oceanic State is here. Up at this. For today, watch the replay if you don't make it on time. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Gabrielle with me, or Hallam me. Now it's not. All right. Hello. Okay, we're back. Should be back. Thanks for letting me know. I try and do my best. For people who are self-producing shows, you're gonna get a certain level of technical issues, right? That are gonna have to be fixed while you're doing the show. Unusually, it's good now. Okay. Anyways, thanks for letting me know. Oh, somebody left a comment the other day, and I appreciated the comment. They were really very appreciative of the show, and they said, "Hey, I really like what you're doing, and your production level is terrible." And okay, I don't know. Is it really terrible? Am I? There are plenty of people I know that do shows from rooms in their house. This is just a room in my house. And if you're as I was saying, if you're self-producing a show, and you don't have a tech person with you, or you're figuring out the tech issues on your own as they happen, well, you're going to have tech issues because they're just going to come up in the middle of the show. It happens. Just so a little bit of a little bit of peace, love, and understanding, a little bit of leniency, a little bit of just compassion for the self-produced podcaster. And I don't know, maybe I could do it better. Who knows? But most people that are there are plenty of people out there, podcasters, that have producers. They have technical people, or they have people that run the show while they're doing the show. I do not have that, so please give me just a little bit of wiggle room, and I try to do what I can. Dow is up. The Dow is up. It's up and then it's down. It's up. It's down. We're saving the economy where the economy is not crashing. It is crashing. Nobody knows. We're on a wild ride. We're on a wild ride, aren't we? Anyways, let me finish. Let me finish covering the things I'm covering, or the thing I was covering. Anyway, she says something pretty good. When people ask me that don't know much about the climate emergency, what it's all about, the hardest thing I feel I have to tell them is that we are already in an emergency, and that the safe habitat is gone forever, and we're just trying to make it less worse. Right. And that's real. That's what's happening. We're already in the portion, we're already in the portion where 20, 30, 40 years ago, when climate scientists were like, if we keep doing the things we're doing now, some really bad things are going to happen in, like, say 2050 or 2100. Well, no, all those things that were going to happen in 2050, 2100, they're actually starting to happen. They've already started right now. We're in that very beginning phase of, like, those bad things that were going to happen if we kept on going. They're already coming our way, and nobody is really alerting the public to that, and that's unfortunate. I'm trying to. I think other people are trying. There are people out there that are trying to. Should have bought Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been doing great, actually. As it should. It's a store of value that is outside of the, mostly outside of the, the traditional money system. So all of those things are going to do better. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all cryptos are doing really well right now because, it's outside of the things that are in your bank. When the banking system becomes something that's less stable than holding Bitcoin in your own wallet, which is where you should hold it, not on an exchange, in your own wallet, then the game might be, the jig is up. Anyways, we'll keep going. Some random breaking news. Just before I sat down to do the show, Russian jet collides with U.S. drone over the Black Sea. Yikes. How could it happen? Why did it happen? What does this mean? What is it going to do? I don't know. They said it collided with its surveillance drone, forcing the U.S. to bring the drone down. This is all like really here we go. U.S. drone crashes after run-in with Russian aircraft. Apparently, the Russian aircraft intercepted the drone. I don't know. Well, that's not good as far as, global tensions go. That's not a good development. I just saw that story, so I'm just repeating it over the airs now. So I don't have any other information about that. But let's go to the story about Biden opening up the Willow oil project. And it's funny. This is from the AP, and this is from a couple days ago. And I saw this article, and I thought this is hilarious. The way they're trying to. He's opening up the largest, oil drilling expedition in Alaska. And the way that they're trying to couch this story is that, well, he's blocking other oil drilling projects as he weighs Willow. This is before the go-ahead. And it's already gotten a go-ahead. So again, the Biden administration is doing what? Doing what better than Trump? Again, this is not an endorsement of Trump. I'm just saying, is he doing what better than Trump? This is just a illumination of the fact that the choices that they give you are the same choices and they're no better than each other. And so, right, Biden has pretty much continued all of Trump's policies. And overseen, pretty much the same destruction as far as, environment, deregulation. Biden's gotten us into another war, which Trump didn't do. Not saying that Trump didn't do anything. I'm just saying he didn't get us into another war, and he actually had peace talks with a few people. He actually tried to have a peace talk with Russia, and everybody was like, that's stupid. Well, not everybody, but the mainstream media would have you believe that everybody thought, oh, that's so dumb. He tried to get North and South Korea together. Let me tell you, all the Korean people on my timeline, on my Facebook, they loved that. They were like, I don't care. I don't care if Trump's a loony. I don't care what you say about Trump. This is awesome. When they were having, when they were going to have a peace agreement, the Koreas, they were like, this is great. They loved it. So, we went from, some tepid attempts at peace agreements to, well, why don't we start another war? Why don't we get another war going with Joe Biden? So, back to after Obama got us into several more wars, Biden is picking up where he left off. I know he got us out of Afghanistan. Actually, that was brokered by Trump, and he had to honor the deal. Oh, that's funny. What's Biden's pussy grabbing policy? That's funny. That's a very good joke. I don't know. You should actually let me see. Maybe you should ask Biden's daughter, Dickie. You should ask Biden's daughter. Did you read that story? Probably didn't. Again, pretty much the same. Same policies. If one worse than the other, I don't know. Who knows? All right. Or, ask some children who had their hair sniffed. Unwarranted hair sniffing. All right. Let me see. Well, so I just was talking about the fact that this, the wording of this project is like, yes, he's shutting down all these other oil drilling engagements, but he's pondering the biggest one yet. And he pretty much gave it the go-ahead. Let's see. Find this from Poppy here. Biden approves controversial Willow oil drilling project in Alaska. Poppy mentioning coffin meat nail. John Glad. Okay. I think to describe what's going on in Ukraine, you actually have to know what happened in history, John Glad, before supposedly Russia attacked Ukraine. There was a coup that we actually helped foster. There was, We've been all up in Ukraine's business for several years. We've been trying to expand NATO. The entire time, Russia's going, no, please don't do that. No, please don't do that. Hey, hey, hey. Right? When somebody's poking you in the chest and you're like, hey, don't do that. And then Russia reacted. And, oh, they attacked it unprovoked. No, they did not. They were surely provoked. So please, try and do some reading, John Glad. Read. Listen. Do a little study before you blab off about something you have no knowledge about. Okay? Or try to not have historical amnesia, which everybody likes to do. Everybody on the left loves to operate in historical, as if everything that happened just happened all on its own, and it just happened all by itself yesterday. You know? You guys have no context. You operate with no context. Sorry. Oh, yeah, I lost it. Asked Tara Reid. Yep, there's that. There's that. That's, Anyways. And it's funny. We can go after all kinds of we can do whatever we want all over the world. No repercussions. It's always for freedom and democracy, right? And but anytime anybody else does something, it's super evil, axis of evil, imperialism, bad, authoritarianism, fascism, blah 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 blah. All right. All right. Anyways, they approved this drilling project, $8 billion drilling project on Alaska's North Slope, which has drawn fierce opposition from environmentalists and some Alaska Native communities who will say it will speed up climate breakdown and undermine food security. Of course it will. Of course it will. ConocoPhillips' Willow project will be one of the largest of its kind on U.S. soil, involving drilling for oil and gas at 3 sites for multiple decades. Multiple decades. So that's that, Put a nail in it, I guess. I mean, as if we hoped, could try and hope that that industrial civilization will actually stop acting like industrial civilization. That an entire civilization built on, fossil fuels could suddenly turn around and operate in a totally different fashion. I mean, I would like it to. It would be great if we could figure it out. Do you think we're going to figure it out? Do you think we're going to figure it out fast enough? Yes, Judy Truitt. And it's, the Biden administration appointing the first ever Native American to the Department of Interior so she could say, we're doing the best things for equity and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've heard it's, yeah. Fascism with the face of diversity is still fascism. So the point is not, is great. I like diversity. I'm a fan of diversity. I love it. But the point, I think, is to, I don't know. I think the point is to do better for people and the planet in general. And diversity is awesome, but if everybody is just acting like greedy, corrupt fools, it doesn't really, isn't that supposed to be why you're getting rid of all the white guys in charge? Who are greedy, corrupt fools, right? It doesn't really matter who's in charge. They're all greedy, corrupt fools. So, anyways. Of course, environmentalists are upset, as they should be. Right. Well, we have, Native American Department of the Interior head. We have, Lloyd Austin, head of the Defense Department. He's just going out, selling armaments to the world. It it doesn't really matter who's in charge, does it? It doesn't really matter what that person in charge looks like, as long as they're corrupt and willing to do anything or say anything to further the corrupt oligarchs' agendas. It doesn't really matter. Sorry, my queue is kind of all over the place a little bit, so. I thought I had a pretty good commentary on this Willow project here. I thought I did. Meanwhile, I'll find it. Meanwhile, we have, continued climate breakdown and things going quite awry in that department. Buenos Aires in Argentina just recorded its hottest March day since records began over 100 years ago. The mercury hit 38.9 C, 102 Fahrenheit, and went on to record the hottest March night on record, too. It didn't drop below an oppressive 28 C. Record-setting heat. I'm waiting for the new ice age to kick in. We need it. Dang it, we need it bad. Somebody, bring me the new ice age. Meanwhile, we're getting some rain, and the problem is that we're getting warm rain. The problem is we're getting warm rain on top of all the snow we just got. We just got record amounts of snow. In northern, all through California. And now we're getting a more tropical atmospheric river, which is going to most likely melt a lot of the snow very quickly, bringing what? Some floods. How about some floods? Guys? The Bay Area, soggy from the weekend rain, will not begin to dry out until the end of the week after two more heavy rain systems, along with damaging wind gusts of up to 70 miles an hour, hit the region on Monday and Tuesday. But it's going to be a warm rain. It's definitely much warmer now. After the last rainfall, I noticed a very warm kind of front of air come in. It was suddenly feeling quite tropical. Hold on, we'll get here. Jem Bendel talking about what's going on in Europe. Unusually low rainfall. So they're getting low rainfall and snowfall in Europe. Very little rain and snow was also in the UK, Ireland, Switzerland, and parts of Italy and Germany. More food price inflation, more poverty, time for such different priorities than those of the elites. Yeah, if you don't get enough snowfall all winter, then what does that mean? That sets you up for an extremely dry summer. Europe is bracing for another devastating drought. And the drought in parts of France is so bad right now that some authorities have banned new home building projects for the next 4 years. Despite a severe housing shortage in France, new homes just aren't worth the drain on water resources that construction and eventual new residents would cause. That's interesting. Say 9 communes in the south of the country. Huh. That's an interesting policy. Sorry, you didn't get to see that. Um, right. We don't have enough water for new houses, therefore new people or more people. That's interesting thing to say. It's just one of many signs Europe is running dry. What we were looking at is something like a multi-year drought. Last summer drought, exacerbated by record temperatures around the continent, was in the headlines. The subsequent dry winter has meant that many aquifers placed underground that retain water in surface reservoirs have not had a chance to recover. So we'll see. It's going to be, unless they get, some massive storms at the end of end of winter, early spring, it doesn't look like there's going to be much respite for Europe. It's raining like crazy in Montana, Andre. 45 Fahrenheit. So, is it going to melt all the snow out, or do you guys have much snow? All right, I'm going to take this call from Brady. Give me 1 second, Brady. Real quickly, you can support the show at buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. Really good way to support the show. Rockman tips also greatly appreciated, as are YouTube super chats, greatly appreciated. There are other ways to support the channel in the description box of all the platforms I'm on, Venmo, Cash App, and all that. Okay, what's up, Brady? How you doing?
Doing well. Just turned on to the work of Nate Silver last night from 538, and someone pointed out, this really cool guy I met last night, pointed out that the percentage that we use to justify invasion into other countries, I think the percentage that we use for like election, how do you say, when the statistical models are so far off in a region by like 7% or more, the U.S. as justification to intervene, because, like, for a perfect example is Venezuela, Nicaragua, right, models where maybe the election outcomes are 7% different than the statistical models leading up to it, which is actually rather normal. And not that bad, considering how crazy the world is today. In the lead up to the presidential election with Bernie Sanders in the primaries, there was a 14% discrepancy between the models and what actually happened there. So almost double what we use to justify intervention into other countries for election meddling was exemplified there. And what's been going on is they've been weaponizing the polarization of the false dichotomy, so that anyone who talks about election meddling is automatically labeled a right winger,
an election denier.
Yeah,
I'm getting a little echo.
At the very same time, just last night, I witnessed a trans woman go into a room and encourage a bunch of women and black people to stop voting, and this was openly accepted and encouraged, and it went on unquestioned. So we're living in a Twilight Zone situation. But
yeah, it's
as far as the Willow Weep For Us. Were you talking about the
Willow Project
Oscar situation?
No,
the Will Smith thing.
No. I was talking about.
Thank God.
Biden approved.
I apologize.
Biden approved a very large oil drilling project in Alaska called the Willow Oil Project, and it was one of the things during the last election. One of the last remaining, everybody had pretty much countered everybody's argument for why Biden would somehow be better than Trump. But the last thing that people held on to was like, well, climate change. He'll be better than Trump on climate change. Not at all. I mean, he's been continuing a lot of the same policies as Trump.
Yeah. individual who was encouraging people to not vote yesterday was saying that we'd be better off if we all just voted for Donald Trump instead. And I
That is
couldn't believe what I
interesting.
was hearing. Yeah. So not only were they selling the false dichotomy, but they were selling the wrong side of the false dichotomy.
I really, it is very interesting to me. It's just interesting to me to hear how so many, even Jimmy Dore, when he was interviewing RFK Jr., I think it was yesterday. RFK Jr. is considering a run for president in the Democratic Party. Okay, so yes, I can see that there are all kinds of problems with that, but Jimmy Dore was like, well, electoral politics won't save us, and we're not going to ever, change anything with that. And I get why he says that. And I have a little less problem with him saying it, but I mean, there are so many people out there telling you, like, don't vote, don't do anything, don't, support this person, don't support the system in any way. I find that I find the messaging.
They don't have to do.
Huh?
It involves no hard work.
Exactly.
And what we can do is we can actively govern ourselves outside of the feds and create our own system that we use for mutual aid projects in a transparent, true democracy, and really meet our mutual needs, like getting clean water, clean food, housing, medicine, just taken care of for free. All those things, like free organic food for everyone, free clean water for everyone, free electricity, free internet, free housing, free medicine, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have all those other things taken care of, the medical cost will drop drastically.
Oh, sure.
Right off the bat.
Right.
And I mean, we can honestly take care of that short list of things so easily. I mean, we could knock it out in 6 months if people were interested in doing the work involved in making it happen.
Right.
The solution lies at our feet. My phone's about to die. But,
Okay. It's all good. Thanks for I appreciate you calling in, and thanks. I like what you're trying to say. Again, just to go back to that point, it's interesting how many people are out there telling you, like, don't vote, don't do anything, don't engage, don't have no agency, right?
I just Cambridge, in the last election, was using information from Facebook, feeding it into AI, and the AI was developing political campaigns to target Black people and encourage them to not vote in Black areas using Cambridge Analytica data.
Right.
And they were actually targeting white supremacist areas, Donald worshiper territory, with campaigns to get them not only to vote, but become politically active in a number of other ways. Basically, politically activate Donald worshipers and psychologically suppress anyone who wasn't voting for Donald. And since the Cambridge Analytica scandal, they've dissolved and regrouped under Emmer data. And these are essentially Margaret Thatcher's henchmen left over from the British Empire. And they're meddling in American politics. And they basically used our information from Facebook to encourage Black people to stop voting in order to get Donald Trump elected.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
to do it, they're primed under Emmer data to do it again in the next election. And I think we see it going on already.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I just find it interesting that, we've had an undermining of, like, faith in institutions and government, and, for good reason, right? But that has been, like, the result of a decades long, kind of libertarian attempt to say, like, well, government is always bad. It goes back to Reagan, saying that, regulations are bad. Big government's bad. We can't, help people out. It's bad to help people out, right? It just leads to bad things, and unions are bad, and right, like, all social programs are bad. And I mean, that after decades of that messaging and having all of those things stripped away through Republicans and Democrats, Clinton, all the way through, Clinton, Obama, Bush, Trump, now Biden, all the regulations and faith in institutions that help to protect people, or faith in social programs that care for people, like all those things have been stripped away. Now they don't work, and now there's absolutely no right. Now things are just falling apart, and the message is still don't vote, don't trust the government, don't have regulations are bad. It's just like, what the f like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm
Down,
kind of
man.
amazed. I'm
It's just a
amazed.
breath of fresh air that you actually understand what I'm talking about, though, man. Thanks for making me feel less alone and
Yeah,
crazy.
man. Yeah. Well, thank you, Brady. Appreciate it. All right. I know your phone's about to die, so yeah, I just and what people lately, I've seen people complaining about the fact that nothing can get done on the left now because everything's fractured, right? Everything is, and that's partly by design too, partly by the messaging of the mainstream media, right? Anybody who goes against the messaging of the Democratic Party and or the establishment is a right winger, or a wild-eyed loony, or a conspiracy theorist. George Monbiot telling people that Russell Brand is a far right, worse than a fascist. Oh my God, George Monbiot, losing what little credibility he still had among now people have completely like gone off on George Monbiot. Anyways, they've really done a great job of just completely you want to talk about divide and conquer. It's not just right and left. They've divided everybody on the left. They've divided every single. There's just no way for people to get together, and I actually was fairly disappointed in Jimmy Dore. I know he feels strongly, and but when he was interviewing RFK Jr. and RFK's like, look what Trump did with the Republican Party. He was, so popular on a populist level. He took over the party. He's like, is there, would our, I think Bernie actually had the chance to do that, but he just was too, he literally was a sheepdog. He was, unwilling to really fight the power structure, and willing to lay down and get everybody to vote for Biden or vote for Hillary or whatever. I don't know. Is RFK going to be different than that? Is RFK Jr., is he willing to get into the Democratic Party and really start swinging and saying like, no, you can't support these people. These people are corrupt. You can't keep this going. Although why discourage him from trying? Like that's the thing, is like Jimmy Dore discouraging him from trying was like, come on, man. Like this is RFK Jr. He's got a lot of clout. He can left and the right. He's people want to listen to what he has to say, and you're telling him don't even try, RFK Jr. What the fuck? Okay, Brady, what's up?
Yeah, man.
That was weird.
A while back, where she was asking like, "What's everyone mad at Jimmy Dore for?" And like I've seen Jimmy Dore defend Donald Trump a little too fucking much, and it's all good. Like, but I mean, like it's like Mr. Rockefeller used to pass out dimes, like, oh, okay, yeah, that every now and then he does something fucking good, but that does not distract us from the larger picture of what's going on behind the curtains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his audience is a bunch of useful idiots. And I had a chance to talk to Jimmy Dore, and I told him, I'm like, hey man, I have a better term for a Trump supporter. I think it's Donald worshiper. I think Donald worshiper is a much funnier and easier to say version of Trump supporter, and it's less empowering for Donald Trump. And he goes, "Oh, I don't like that word. That's a really divisive word. That word just divides people." And he hung up on me before I had a chance to say, "Well, then why do you keep using the term shit libs? How many times have I heard Jimmy Dore use the term shit lib, right?" And he's afraid to use the term Donald worshiper, so he's a fucking hypocrite for one. And for two, he's a hypocrite on the wrong side of his history on that one particular issue. And that is the one major beef that I have with Jimmy Dore is he's a little fast to defend Donald Trump and a little slow to encourage, like you just said, legitimate candidates like JFK Jr. and even myself. I'm running for president as a write-in. I'm running for everything, all the way down to local
Go for
school board
it.
as
Go
a
for it,
write-in
man.
if I
Go
have
for
to.
it. Yeah.
Just yeah, just to bypass the whole ballot access um, bureaucracy
Yeah.
bullshit that we're being handed. And I think it's a legitimate alternative to the false dichotomy situation they have set up because, like you said, the libertarians are observably racist and sexist and subservient to,
Well,
their vampire overlord.
I wouldn't just blanket libertarians with with racist and sexist, but I don't like. I think that the basic tenet of it is, small government and deregulation and no social programs and let everybody fend for themselves. And like we've already been there. I just don't, I don't, and it serves a greater purpose, which is to undermine people's faith in public institutions, right? Or undermine people's faith in the idea that the government can do okay things, sometimes, especially if you support these agencies with the correct oversight and the correct funding, right? Like this is these agencies that are supposed to work for you, right? And so that
What we need is
you keep pulling away like people's support for these things, and then even the people that get voted in the office, they get voted in based on these principles of like, well, I'm gonna these things are bad. And guess what? Those are Republicans and Democrats. They're doing the same thing. They're pulling out support and oversight and regulation. They're pulling out all the support for these institutions that are supposed to, kind of take care of you or help things out. And so what you get is everything crumbling. You get train derailments, and you get more climate change. You get more Superfund sites, and you get more. You just get more of the same thing because you're just opening the lane for them to do whatever they want to do. And the whole message is, well, don't engage, don't vote, don't try, don't take yourself out of the system, and you're just opening this wide ass lane, until you get to a point where the only answer left is literally getting out in the streets and open and like openly confronting this system, right? Whether it's I don't know, right. Whether it's through direct action or through I don't know, whatever way you want to confront them, but like you're going to be your only option. I just anyways.
No, you nailed it, man. You nailed it. I'm so glad that I'm not alone, dude. Like, you have no idea. Like, I felt like giving up yesterday.
Well, and
I ended up having a few cool conversations with some like-minded individuals, and just knowing that I'm not alone is a huge vindication and keeps me motivated. And I legitimately think that you, me, anyone like us can run for president, win, and follow suit all the way down the national and local tickets. And we can find regular Americans, we can find homeless Americans to fill political seats that are going unchallenged in districts. We could fill them with homeless Americans.
There's that unchallenged thing. People, that unchallenged thing is real. Like, man, I can't tell. I mean, I still vote. Even as I feel completely dejected. I don't even know who to vote for in the last. I was just, I have to be honest. My last voting excursion was like, I don't know who I was all over the place. I was all over the place, and I was just because I was.
2016, I voted Jill Stein.
Yeah, me too.
But in this last election, I live in Texas, and I was really faced with a lot of social pressure to vote for Joe Biden. Yeah. And the only reason I did it was because I was trying to protect women's rights. And it was actually a rather close race here in Texas, considering it was Joe Biden. and it felt like the right thing to do. And then, sure as hell, Joe Biden failed to protect women's rights. So I completely regret that decision,
Yeah.
and never going back. But that said, voting, so as little as I felt like my vote counted, right? It took me like 15 minutes to do it. I barely went out of the going to the library is always a cool experience. It's like a free blockbuster. Guys, highly recommended. Go into your local
It is.
library, just say hi sometimes. They have seed banks there, guys. You can go to
Right.
your local library and pick up seeds for your garden at home for free. Go to your local library. Vote.
Social institutions that are really good for you and good for the community.
Yeah,
Fuck.
it takes 10-15 minutes if you go early. If you wait until last minute, it could end up taking hours because the government is trying to take away your ability to vote.
Yep.
um,
Right.
and
Right.
that is evidence enough that you need to be flexing that right. And like I said, it takes 10 to 15 minutes if you go early. If you go late, maybe it takes 20 minutes to a couple hours. Who knows, depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
But
I just. Yeah.
it's
Keep going.
worth
Sorry.
it for less privileged people. It's enough to tip the scales in the balance of less privileged people in a way that can save lives and legitimately keep life on Earth alive longer than what we might be looking at now. So it's worth it.
Cool. Thanks, Brady. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Likewise.
Yeah. I just. Yeah. I just. It's an interesting. Hey, Poppy. Yeah, I just had to do it an hour earlier today, so I'm going to be wrapping it up pretty soon.
Well, hey man, if you ever find yourself like in a bar situation with some drunk people around you and you think you can talk one of them into running, send them to me, send them to the organization Run for Something. There's an organization called Run for Something. So if anyone's
Okay.
thinking about running, yeah, I'm about to sign up with them. Sabby Sabs originally discouraged me from signing up with them, but I'm going to go ahead and just do it anyway. And like I said, I'm running for everything. So
Okay.
I'll just take the best one I can get, and I encourage everyone else to do the same thing. Run for everything. And
Yeah.
then we'll have debates. We can host debates here on Call In, and let's just let the best rise to the top and just take the best you can get, and let's write each other in.
Yeah. Right on, man. Right on. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your willingness to get out there and do something. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I did. I just. I'm stuck on that one with Jimmy Dore and RFK Jr. Just even if I'm dejected and feel hopeless about the prospects, I just I think huh.
I went to Jimmy Dore's comedy show in Austin shortly after I talked to him, and I felt really it wasn't a very good show. Like there was no audience interaction whatsoever. He didn't want to take any questions, nothing like that. And we all paid, what, $80 to go see him, and he sold the place out twice. And
Okay.
kind of pumped us through, and it just was not a very. It was also kind of a cringy show. It was kind of. I don't
Okay.
know. It wasn't what I went for.
Well, I mean, I just have to be like, I love Jimmy. I really like Jimmy Dore. I love Jimmy Dore. I'm a big fan of his. I have deep respect for him. The thing I'm taking issue with, we're talking about, is a particular point of view, which I find a little, I just find it a little bit weird, just Jimmy Dore had a really good, he has good organizing ideas, but then he doesn't want to, he said, like, I'm not going to run for office, right? Or I don't want to get involved in that. Or the force of the vote thing I thought was brilliant. And he got attacked, and he got, completely, they completely went after him. And so I understand his anger, and I understand his maybe disillusion with it all. But that doesn't mean, the force of the vote was a great idea. And it doesn't mean stop trying. That is not what it means. It means like, okay, that didn't work out. Try a different way. And the funny thing is, the force the vote is exactly what Republicans did next time, right? Republicans just did Jimmy Dore's idea, and they won. They did it. They got what they wanted. So it wasn't, it wasn't his idea that was wrong. It was the right idea. It was great. But like, maybe it's the wrong party. I don't know. Maybe it's, whatever it is. But it's just, that's not a reason to go like, well, that didn't work out. Well, screw it. And yes, Bernie Sanders let everybody down twice. Yes, I can't really call 2020 a real situation because, the pandemic kind of just came in and, kicked out everything, any sense of normalcy, and they pretty much, everybody folded up shop and said, well, it's a pandemic and everything and fascism and let's all vote for Biden, and that was ridiculous. But still, so that's not a normal situation. But, Bernie folded twice, and yes, the progressives are just a bunch of, lip service, but that still doesn't mean there isn't, at least a groundswell of an idea of a movement. And maybe, I don't necessarily think Democratic Party is a great place to be. I prefer going third party or whatever, new party, something. But like, still, RFK Jr. is a
party that I'm working on.
Excuse me.
I apologize. I was wondering if you've heard of the Proxy Party. It's an idea that Peter Monian came up with in 2020. And I had a very similar idea in 2016 that I called the People Party. But since Nick Brana kind of ruined that idea,
right, the People's Party,
I've kind of adopted the Proxy Party as... I'm sorry?
No, he leaves a bad taste in people's mouths now.
Yeah, he's kind of an observable sex pest on top of all the bad money spending and everything, But the Proxy Party is a fantastic idea. Even if we don't win any elected seats, you could just use the party platform as a network for mutual aid and allocate all campaign contributions as if they were tax money, and allocate them all towards mutual aid projects like we talked about, free clean water, free organic.
It's a great idea, yeah.
Free cannabis. Even free cannabis for everyone. That's not hard to do,
Well, let me just interject. It's okay. On one hand, it's infuriating and it's really messed up that the advent of small personal donations being a huge driver of political campaigns, like Bernie kind of revolutionized that. And people don't really talk about this much, but Donald Trump actually did better than any other candidate with those small personal donations. Even though he had a huge, Republican Party had a huge war fund and he has, money himself. He actually got more in small donations than any other candidate, than Bernie did. But so, that is on some levels a fundraising revolution. But what's messed up is that when you fold like that, people go like, "Oh, where's my money?" Right? Like you took my money and you folded, right? And so
they could have just built solar panels. They could have just installed solar panels,
right.
Provided free school lunches for every American student, free college, whatever the fuck. It would have been orders of magnitude more important than those hats, those signs, those TV commercials, those interviews, whatever the fuck they spent that money on.
And so that's a great idea, right? To turn that model and say, hey, we're taking donations for a political campaign, but we're actually going to use those donations to do the things that we want to do. If we won, right? Even if we won, we're still going to do the things. We're still going to do the policies. That's a great idea. That's an incredibly great idea. Good stuff.
The Proxy Party, we could use all the help we get, all the help we can get. Like I said, if you
makes sense,
even just a good idea, any good ideas we'll take. And if you know any good people who are willing to run, we need good candidates. And just any kind of volunteer. We're not asking for money at all at this point. I think that we can get a lot done just boots on the ground, volunteering, and social media. Just word of mouth promoting would be huge.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, man. I like it. I like it. What is it called? Run for something? I'll mention it. All right, Brady. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to take this call from William real quick, and I really got to wrap up the show because I'm about out of time. William, how you doing?
Hey, Kev, can you hear me okay?
Yes. How you
Good.
doing?
Okay. Well, I'm okay. I'm not really up on the conflict with Jimmy. I can't contribute any comments to that, but I did find it interesting. There's a Dr. Andrew Huff. Have you heard of him, Jim? Kev, he used to work vice president of Eco Alliance, Health Alliance.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, check out. He's a whistleblower. He was VP Eco Health Alliance, where Peter Daszak. You've heard of Peter Daszak?
Yes.
Yeah, he worked with him,
Okay.
and he's blowing the whistle, basically telling you where the money's come from for the gain of function research, and
right.
just cutting it wide open. So there's his recent couple of videos I had put in the chat. One's with Children's Health Defense Fund. That's a longer one.
Okay.
The other was the Gateway Pundit, and it has a 7-minute clip, but it's also got all the documents in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe we can talk about that some more once you have a chance to dig into it.
Check it out. Hold on one second. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just opening up some. Yeah, man. Well, I'll check it out, and maybe we can discuss it tomorrow.
Sure.
Since I've got to end the show.
No, great.
Soon.
The last thing I want to point out, we've heard a lot about the vaccine adverse events reporting system and its shortfallings. Well, I found an article that cites studies and international oversight committees all the way back to 1994. They knew this. And so this article I put in the traces back, the congressional testimonies and what was brought out to the shortfallings of it all the way back to 1994, Kev.
Okay.
And you have to ask, how did they let it go on for 3 decades like that? You know what I mean? So that's a very revealing. I didn't realize that they knew that far back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, so I know you're about to wrap it up, but some good stuff we can talk about upcoming.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check out this article. Thank you for sending that.
Very good.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, William. All right, guys. I have got to sign off. Yes, I'm early today. I know everybody's showing up right now at noon. I had to do the show an hour early today, and I'll be back tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So thank you all for hanging out today. The people that made it in early and the people that just got here, of course, you can just watch the replay. But thanks, y'all, for hanging out. Again, all the ways in which you can support the show, and I appreciate all the support. And I thank you all for hanging out every day. I'll see you tomorrow at the regular time. And until next time, peace.